another Saddle Up with Sienna, and today we are in the jumper arena for another lesson on Chip, preparing for our first combined test. He was a really good boy today, and this was our first time cantering courses up there, so big step up. He was amazing though, and this is probably one of my favorite lessons of all time. It was just so much fun. I love shovel jumping so much. It's just, right now it's my favorite discipline. So I just love any course I can get my hands on. And so you guys are going to get to see some of our jumping today. We had some fails, and then we had some really great jumps as well. So, nothing bad really happened. It's just that sometimes we knock the pole or we land on the wrong lead. And all the little things that add up to having a good course, sometimes we just screw up sometimes. So we worked a lot on those things, and we did have one refusal or two in this video. I think there's only one though, but he was a really good boy otherwise, and I was super proud of him. So now I'm about to bring in the canter. He is very spooky up in the top of ring. He's really a spooky horse in general. It's just he shies away from things, and sometimes he won't go over the jumps because he sees something scary. So right here he decides he's afraid of something in the distance. I don't quite know what it was, but it kind of caught me off guard, and I kind of got flung. Other than that, though, I think my position's looking pretty strong this day. And I think it's very satisfying to watch my braid and his mane flop up and down together. I don't know. I think that's really cool. I just love his canter, too. He's so fast. He feels just so fast. It's so much fun. So now we're about to trot into our first fence, and this is a good time to explain what's about to happen in this clip. So they built a new pavilion right next to the jumper ring for spectators. He doesn't like the pavilion because he thinks it's really spooky. And so, yeah, I didn't give him enough leg, I didn't make him go over, and he just ducked out. So then I bring him back to a halt to make him listen to me. He's like, oh, there was a fence there, oopsie. So now we are trotting into this fence again. He's still a bit spooky about it, but he ends up jumping it anyways on the incorrect lead, but then he comes back to trot. So at least he's being obedient. Now we're going to try this little purple vertical, and he's very anxious to get over. He's like, woo, let's go. And I need to hold him back a bit more. Land on the incorrect lead, but that was my fault for not setting him up properly over that fence. Then we go back to trot. Then we fix our lead so that we can try cantering it. So now we are cantering into the fence, going a bit quick, so we need to slow it down a bit. We need to be more balanced and in control. My body movement is actually pretty nice though, because considering I'm usually flopping around at the beginning of the series, I get a bit ahead of him, creep up on his neck, so I need to work on that. Poor Chip. I just got anxious and threw myself on his neck, so yeah. Didn't result too terribly though. So now we're going to come back around and do it again. Little half halt there, and then another little half halt here, just to try and get him more balanced and into my hands and get a nicer canter. And we have a pretty straight approach, which I was very proud of this approach watching it back. And this is our best fence of the day so far. He did really well on that one. So now we are going to canter into it the other direction, and he's still kind of not over the pavilion, so that was a little bit of a problem, but we get him to canter, and I'm just trying to keep my shoulders back to get control. Then we kind of do like a little cat leap because we got a pretty short stride to the fence and got pretty close to it. So now we're going to jump this little pink oxer, and he ends up getting the lead change over it, which was pretty nice, but we got, again, a really short stride to it. So we need to work on that, and then him coming back to trot, he just doesn't want to. He's like, no, thank you. So 10 strides before I get him back to trot. So now we are going to do a little course, and so he does that fence pretty well, but then we, swap our leads. We're going a bit too fast here, so I try to half halt him, get him back under control. My half halts are kind of irrelevant, though. And there I finally get him a little bit better. Beautiful jump over that, although we do switch our leads. So I'm going to have to correct it, but I'm just wobbling like a wobbly noodle on his back. So that needs to be fixed. Need to get my core strength back because I don't know where that went. Do a really quick, simple change. And then send him over that American flag jump. We get really close to it, and we're going way too fast. So I get ready to send him back to trot for this little Snyder's combination that we're about to do, which is not going to be in this show because it is a little too advanced for the starter class, so we just schooled it that day. It's not going to be in the actual course. But the first fence I get really left behind, and the second fence we take off way too soon. I mean, it looks kind of cool, but that's not how you should do it. So we do a lead change to get back on the correct lead, and then we go back to trot to try and regain some control. And then he does his pink oxer absolutely beautifully. I loved that fence. He lands in the correct lead and everything. And I thought that was a really nice fence. So then I head him towards the green fence. And again, we need to slow down a little bit. So I half halt him, nothing. Half halt him again, nothing. Then I give him a very last resort half halt. He listens to me and does a beautiful fence, which is wonderful. Then lead change down the side, then lead change again. And he goes over that oxer of trees. And it was absolutely beautiful. So now I'm steering him towards the red fence, which on this day I thought that was absolutely ginormous for some reason. So I was a little bit anxious going up to it, but he just flies it. It was so beautiful. I was so proud of him for that fence, and that was like one of my favorite fences of the day. I was really proud of it because of the fact that like we got over it. My fears were for nothing. And so then we just kind of get really close to that last fence, but I pat him anyways because he was a very good boy for this being our first time up on the big course. So now we just jumped that purple fence. I do not have the actual full version of this. Somehow I lost it. So we will not get to see the full version. The only fence you're going to miss is the natural. But this is like the clips I could find. So we'll have to make do. So here we go over this spooky patriotic. But he does it beautifully. Wonderful jump. Way better than our first attempt at the patriotic. Now we're coming over to one of my favorite fences of the day for sure. Maybe the favorite fence besides that red and white oxer. These were just so much fun. I loved schooling this double. It was just like flying. It's so great. He went so quick through there, and then we do a flying lead change and get ready for that oxer. Really, this round just gave me a lot of confidence that I really needed going into my first jumping round ever. So it was much needed confidence. So we get over that oxer. Beautiful. He's just such a good horse. And as you can see, I had to merge two videos together right there. So that's why it kind of flickered. And now we are looking at our tree line and half halt, not going to happen. Got there a little bit too close. And then, of course, since our first fence wasn't that great, neither is our second fence. I mean, it wasn't terrible, but it just wasn't as clean or as beautiful as I was hoping it would be. So now we are looking for our red and white intimidating brick fence next to the scary pavilion. This one really kind of like intimidated me because I felt like it was super big. I know you guys were probably thinking that's not big at all, but again, we just soar over it. But it's big to me, okay? So now we go over to this yellow and white fence, and he just does it beautifully. I'm so proud of him. Thank you all so much for watching. If you like this video, make sure you subscribe so that you can watch our first ever combined test. This is our second to last lesson before the big day, so I'm quite excited. This is going to be such a monumental day in my riding journey. So if you'd like to see that day, make sure you like and subscribe for Crazy Horse content for Horse Crazy Kids.